We're back. Sims Complete, Phil Sims, Matt Sims, and right now we're going to do a little quarterback talk and breakdown. Yeah, fix those glasses, boy.
I can't ever figure it. Well, it's opposite. You know, when I look here and I see myself, I'm like, what the hell?
You're crooked skull, you.
No, yeah, I know. I do got a crooked head.
Yeah,
that's from my brothers punching me too much as I was growing up.
That's from Reggie White knocking your head into the turf so many times there at Veteran Field too. That's what.
Yeah, Well, he did it at Giant Stadium too. He was equal. You know, he liked doing it everywhere.
That's right. Yeah.
As Reggie hit me once and I got the ball off, but I got really crushed by him and Jerome Brown.
Yeah.
They literally picked me up underneath my armpits. They picked me up and they're both slapping me on the ass going, come on, hang in there. And I didn't know if they were like being sarcastic. Do they, whatever.
Right.
But I didn't say anything to those two.
Was Reggie the one that said to you, I'm really sorry, to you at one point in the game because he was hitting you so often?
No, that was Kevin Green.
Kevin Green. So Kevin Green literally apologizing to you while he just sacks you. And saying,
well, he was hitting me. Every time I threw it, he was hitting me and this and that. And Kevin Green was just one of those guys, when he hit you, it hurt.
Right.
He just one of those guys. And he kept hitting me and I'm on the ground. And he looked at me where our faces were right together, laying on the ground. He goes, sorry, Phil. And I just go, Kevin, I don't give a crap. I'm playing so bad. I deserve to be hit.
Right.
And that kind of like bonded us. He loved that,
yeah.
That I said that to him. I said, man, the way I'm playing, I need a good beating.
That's right. So, that's great.
Yeah, it was out in LA. It was terrible. Had a terrible game. But oh well.
All right.
So what are we going to do here?
Yeah, so we're going to talk Justin Fields, Caleb Williams. Obviously the new home in Pittsburgh, and also too just kind of go back and talk about, I guess, really what people have been mentioning through the different media worlds out there right now, and just the discussions leading up to that move to ship him off to Pittsburgh. So I'm going to give you the floor, big guy. Where do you want to start with?
Well, I'm going to start with this
discussion.
I'm going to start with the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Okay. And what I hear on TV, and I've heard it a lot, I just go, man, I want to talk about this. I do. The fact that people go on and say, well, the Bears didn't get what they should have got for Justin Fields.
Yeah.
And my thing here is now, I don't care. What difference does it make if it was a 4th rounder or 6th rounder? Hell, half the draft picks flame out anyway. Too much.
Right.
But should have kept them both and kept them doing training camp if somebody gets hurt or gets hurt. Are you crazy to think that way? Yes, you're crazy. I mean, come on. 2 quarterbacks, Caleb Williams and Justin Fields, in the locker room, going out to practice, the press, the media, the fans. It's all they'll talk about.
Chicago, yeah.
Yeah, but it'd be anywhere if you had these 2 guys out there. And, here you are, you're the defensive back for the Chicago Bears, and, you're having a great camp or a great offseason, and they go, hey, so what do you think about the quarterbacks? I mean, that's all you would hear.
Right.
To think it's a disruption to the team, that would be an understatement to me, Matt.
Yeah.
And, I've even said, if they did something like that, I would have to think about job security for the front office. I'm serious. Yeah. I mean, come on. In the football world, to think about keeping 2 quarterbacks like that together in this situation, I'm just going to say, I'm being nice. It's crazy. It's beyond crazy.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of it too is just like the egos too of some people on television who really just can't admit that Justin Fields hasn't turned out to be the player that they were hoping that he would be. Right. And, a lot of that is the organization. A lot of that too is just probably a bad evaluation on a lot of our parts too, of not understanding that his skill set might not have transitioned as quickly as we thought to the NFL level.
It's rough.
It's rough. And there's going to be some growing pains. There will be growing pains for Caleb Williams, going to the NFL. Now, at the same time, the example that I have through my history of playing particularly is when I saw the New York Jets and Mike Tannenbaum sign Tim Tebow, right, to the New York Jets while Mark Sanchez was there. And 2 years previous to that, Mark Sanchez led that team to an AFC Championship game, lost, of course, to those both times in those matchups. And then they bring in Tim Tebow, and I feel like that was the beginning of the end of Mark Sanchez's career in so many ways because of the distraction, because it took away from the focus on who the starting quarterback was.
Sure.
At that point, it didn't even matter. It was just a circus. And, it really just was ultimately a bad move that really kind of destroyed that team and ultimately Rex's tenure as the New York Jets head coach. So that's where those moves can have tremendous collateral damage, not only to the players, but really the entire staffs and multiple people a part of it too. And that
Well,
to me
yeah,
is just one of those great examples of that. And to keep
yeah, yeah.
Justin Fields, like, come on, man.
Well, wait, but here, let me go back to what you're talking
Yeah.
about. We got, half the locker room's here, the other half's here. They don't know, but they got their thoughts, and well, I don't like it, whatever. But I went to practices in that training camp for the Jets,
Yeah.
and there's Tim Tebow and Mark Sanchez in 7-on-7 where we're reading and throwing, tucking the ball and running half the time. Because why? Because everybody in the media, he's 4 for 3, 7, and they're writing down every practice. So both of them can't let the ball go because they're trying to keep their stats.
He's 4
where
for
it
3.
is.
Come on, Phil. What the
Yeah,
hell are
no,
you
I
talking
stumbled a
about?
little. 4 for 7,
Yeah.
but whatever. But
You're right. You're right. All of a sudden, you start to really, it damages the growth at the position because now you have to start playing like a politician even at practice.
Absolutely,
and that does not allow the player to learn and grow and figure out what he does well, what he can improve upon, learning a new offense, a scheme, all that stuff, learning new players. It allows it really does condense obviously the growth of a football player.
Well, okay. So you think that would definitely, what you just explained, that scenario, that would be exactly what we would get in Chicago, starting with OTAs and those practices.
Yeah.
And now 7-on-7 and everything becomes, a stat that why we should start one and not the other, things like that.
Right.
And, too, when you're practicing in training camp rotation, you want to find out as a quarterback where the edge is.
Yes.
How much can I push it as a decision maker? And when you muddy it up, like a lot of people have talked about, it's hard to advance your skill of what you're reading and throwing sometimes because you're too worried about the optics.
And let's face it though too. The other issue is that Caleb Williams has voiced this opinion in the past that he would have been open to opting out for an entire year in the NFL or not playing if he didn't go to a team that he thought was built or ready to support him and his future at that program. So if you keep Justin Fields on your roster, I feel like that gives Caleb Williams all the incentive he needs to say, yeah, okay, the Bears drafted me, but I'm not going to play. I'm going to pull a Jim Kelly. I'm going to go play in the UFL or whatever for a year.
Well, that's not going to be good enough. Good try.
Yeah, right. But in theory, you are leaving the door open for that player to make it more difficult, right, than expected because of that. And
that would be part. You brought up a good point. If Justin Fields was still with Chicago draft day, Caleb would go, all right,
trade me. Yeah.
This ain't going to work. Yeah. This is not going to work. I don't know.
Right.
That's the scenario. I think it's really real too when you talk about it. I think it's just go, don't draft me.
I mean,
you
if
guys
Caleb
have already
Williams,
screwed it up.
Yeah. If Caleb Williams is your son, that's what you would tell him too. Be like, hey, Caleb, sorry, you're not going to play for the Chicago Bears. We're going to ask them to trade us.
Wait it out
and see what happens, and it's up to them.
Let me say this last thing about Justin Fields. I thought he did progress last year.
Right.
It wasn't progressing. And everybody complained, well, the offense is not built around him. And, that is just a statement that's thrown out there all the time. Then I just go, explain it to me. What?
Right.
What? Oh, they don't have enough zone reads in? What? Oh, okay. I always wonder, what does that mean? So, I watched some of those games where everybody was complaining about the offense.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, it was there to be had big time.
Yeah.
But Justin Fields wasn't ready. And Matt, you and I talk about this. He is such a good runner, so dynamic, fast, big, and all that why would you want to read out when you go, I don't like it, you just run, because you can do that. Most quarterbacks got to read it out and do the right thing because they don't have the ability to escape and give you these dynamic runs. So, sometimes having that great ability as a runner is going to slow down your progress as a passer and a thrower.
Yeah, for sure.
And a decision maker. You agree?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, we discussed this too this season with Lamar Jackson. He's not a great anticipatory thrower, right? Because, why would he have to be, when you're that athletic and when you have such a strong arm like he does? He waits, he sees it, he rips it, and that's part of the game too, is really identifying what that player does well. And for Justin Fields, I agree with you. I think that the offense was a little bit better than what everyone's saying. it just got so bad there at certain points in his career there that, they
Right.
kind of had to put the blame on someone. They're not going to say that they were wrong about the guy that they drafted. And, it obviously falls on the offensive coordinator in that position there. Now, for Justin, I think it's really one of those situations. It's kind of both. Both sides failed each other. The Bears
Yes.
failed him as an organization to prepare him to play in an offense that suited him, particularly for his skill set, and allow him to grow incrementally through his career. And then
Right.
also, too, Justin just isn't a good enough passer at the current moment to capitalize on a lot of those throws, especially his first few years. Recently,
Yeah.
this last year, towards the end of it, we finally saw that. We saw him change his motion. You and I discussed this multiple times, how we actually saw a physical and psychological change on how he's going about his throwing technique, his throwing motion. And that dramatically, I think, improved his play because he was more accurate. And that's something that for the Pittsburgh Steelers, you got to hope that that trend continues, or else this player's never going to reach the full potential that we thought he would have.
I think it will change with Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I think Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator, Tennessee's head coach,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
And Atlanta Falcons head coach, coordinator with the Tennessee Titans.
Right.
He's going to design things kind of like Greg Roman did for Lamar Jackson.
Right.
Let's take advantage of this running you have, but we're going to build off of it, of course, with play actions and easy completions, easy reads. They got enough, talent outside Pittsburgh does to help you out. And I think this is going to be really good for Justin Fields. I think he will see the field for the Steelers this year.
Yeah.
Will he, and I say that you got him and Russell Wilson, they can work together. This is different. We got the old vet and somebody is trying to resurrect his career. They can work together. And, there's no way that we're not going to see Justin Fields in the opening game doing something.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he comes in the game with Russell Wilson, he plays running back or wide receiver just to fool the defense and make the team that you're playing prepare for both. And he'll get some runs and stuff like that in games, don't you think, when you think about it down the road?
I think so, and I think that's really going to be the main job of Mike Tomlin, is really managing expectations of his team and really just their identity, and just saying, yeah, we got two guys, not one guy, that are both trying to resurrect their careers and how people are viewing them. And it's really for the betterment of the group for us to play as a collective unit. And if that means that Russ is the quarterback for 70% of the snaps, and then the other 30% is Justin Fields, and he's doing some of those specialty plays or certain packages that fit his skill set, then so be it. That's up to Mike Tomlin. And, like Mike Tomlin and Bill Belichick a few years ago with making, Joe Judge the offensive coordinator with, what's his face? Patricia, excuse me. Tomlin, I feel like we're going to give him that flexibility. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's done it for a long time. We're going to allow him to do something experimental at the quarterback position as fans and as people that watch because of this. So I think that's a really interesting dynamic. I'm curious to see how it plays out, obviously in real time. But you've even said this in the past. You believe the Steelers are a little bit of a closer of a threat, going forward. Made the playoffs last year with Mason Rudolph, but you do think that they have some good pieces going forward to kind of build around.
Oh, I do. I think the Steelers, the offensive line improved last year.
Right.
I know it didn't grade out as well as I thought it maybe did. I don't care.
Yeah.
Just my overall thought when I watch them every week. Hey, they're getting it together with this offensive line. Pass protection, all this stuff was better. They ran the ball well with the two good running backs.
Yeah.
I want to say this about Mike Tomlin and the coaching staff, Arthur Smith. When they go out in the field and you got Russell Wilson, who can still throw.
Yeah.
He's still got a good arm. And they see Justin Fields, Mike Tomlin's going to go, wow, I don't know if I recognize this. You know what I mean? Because these two have better arms than any of the quarterbacks that were on the roster last year for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
For sure.
In my opinion. I don't know if you feel the same way, but they both got more powerful arms. They can make more throws, and they both have the ability to move around better than anybody they had on that roster last year. So this is a whole new team.
Yeah.
Last year, it was let's just be careful and protect and everything.
I don't
Yeah,
really know what the plan was last year. I don't know
yeah.
if there really was one, but
Just kill the clock and see if our defense can win a low scoring game.
yeah, and they did that pretty good job because
Yes.
nobody, as you would say, mucks it up better than Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think, this style fits Russell Wilson. I think this style will fit Justin Fields too, because they're
I
not
do
trying to
too.
put too much on them, to be throwing it 40 times a game and being super reliant on the quarterback. Manage the football game, make the one or two plays that you need to be successful. And then with Justin Fields' running ability, hopefully you can break off a few of those specialty type of plays, putting defenses in a bind with reading the quarterback, all that, and allowing him to be the athlete that he is. And,
Yeah.
It will be definitely interesting. And Arthur Smith, to go back to that.
There you go. That's where I was going.
That's exciting too, because,
sure.
We've seen this a few times. Guys that are offensive coordinators that become head coaches, sometimes their identity and kind of their swagger is lost when they become a head coach.
Right.
This guy, I think, will have the ability now to get back to, how he made his name as an offensive coordinator, to be a little bit more creative, to be a little bit more hyper focused on that side of the football. And that benefits, I think, all parties too. And this is a guy too. I mean, you got Arthur Smith, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. You got three guys here that have all left the last places that they've been with broken hearts, and they got something to prove. And that's usually a recipe for success in the NFL.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for Arthur Smith. I am. I know he'd still love to be the head coach of Atlanta Falcons, but what he can do with a team that's not that, it's not a total rebuild, none of that. They're kind of ready.
Yeah.
And like I said, the running backs, the offensive line's improved. They drafted somebody, the right tackle last year. He played great. I can't think of his name right now. I'm going too quick. But he's going to, like you said, when you just put all your effort and thoughts just on your offense all week long,
yeah,
I just expect to see a lot of good stuff from this offense this year.
For sure.
This should not even resemble what we've seen in the last 4 years or whatever of Pittsburgh and that offense. And it just was all over the map. I never felt like who they really are, and was it really giving them a good chance to win. So this is going to be great. It's going to be good for Justin Fields. It's going to be good for Russell Wilson. And, I'm in a positive mood right now. So everything's good.
You are.
Everything's good. Don't worry. It'll change.
You got your button-up shirt with your slippers on right now, I bet, too, right now. So you got, your business up top and your casual party on the bottom, I could tell. So,
well, I have tennis shoes on.
Oh, you got tennis shoes. All right, good for you.
Yes.
Good for you.
Yeah, so I'm not quite a slob.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
All right. So that's all we got today for
that
breakdown for Justin Fields, the Caleb Williams situation, really the effects that move had on both teams. And, I think really for both players going forward, both franchises, this is really the best result for everybody included. And if that's true, that means that it's good for us, the fans, too, when we're watching on Sunday. So
yes,
that's all we got for Sims Complete. Alongside my boy, Philly Sims, I'm Matt Sims. Follow Phil Sims at Phil Sims QB11 on Instagram, on Twitter. Follow me, Sims Complete, on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you to the Bleed Network, and we'll be back with more next time. See ya.